Hey everyone, it's December, which means it's the time for our spring wrap up. We've just gone through a very interesting spring. I've obviously moved down to Victoria and we've been going through lockdowns and those sorts of things. So it's been a bit of a crazy time, crazy spring, ups and downs in the market. We've had Trump lose the election. We've had quite a lot of things happening all over the world. So here's a spring wrap up for you, and we're going to start with the financial stuff. We're going to start with the meaty stuff and do our little SWOT analysis, or our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats analysis, and then we'll get onto some of our personal stuff in terms of what Lauren and I are doing and where we see the things moving forward from here. So starting with the strengths, we've seen a few major strengths in markets. We've seen global markets rally. Nearly all markets except the Chinese market has had some really good growth, anywhere between 7+, 8+% in nearly all developed markets, including Australia. And we've seen a lot of strength coming through from North American markets, being very much tech driven. So that's one of the strengths. Another strength that we've got coming through is that we're seeing a do whatever it takes strategy from reserve banks and governments across the world. And what I mean by that is we've seen the cash rate drop to 0.1%, which isn't a strength in itself, but what it is demonstrating is that the Reserve Bank is less frightened about pushing property prices further, and they're more concerned about stimulating growth and those sorts of things. And we're also seeing a combined joint effort from the Australian government and the Australian banks and the financial system to continue lending and to delay the possible outcomes of the COVID-19 crisis. Finally, one of the strengths that we've got with that's happened over the spring is we've had a really big announcement of a vaccine with over 90% success rate in suppressing transmission. Now, whether or not you are someone who is skeptical of the vaccine or not, it is good news from an investment point of view and from a market point of view, because what it's allowed is some more business confidence to come in and allows people to start making some decisions and actually driving growth forward, because they're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. So that's really great news from the vaccine side of things as well. In terms of weaknesses, we're seeing two major weaknesses throughout this last spring period. And one of the weaknesses, which is glaringly obvious, smack you in the face, is still the effects of COVID-19. It's still suppressing international travel, domestic travel, which means that we're not able to fly overseas, we're not able to really mingle with other people in other states, and it's really stopping businesses from opening fully. So that's a continued weakness for the economy and also socially. So people being able to get together over Christmas time is a lot more restricted over this period, and it looks like it's going to continue to be quite restricted in the next few months as well. The other major weakness that we're seeing, which is really a bit of a cause for concern, is the heightened tensions and of the trade disputes and the social disputes going on between Australia and China. So a major weakness coming through is this Chinese action on our economy and on, I suppose, our power in the region as well. So we're seeing quite a concerted effort to really stymie Australian efforts globally from a trade point of view, from an economic point of view, and China thinks they have the upper hand and they're willing to use it. So major weakness coming through over the next few months is that continued suppression, and that is likely to continue into the start of next year and may even escalate further. Moving on to some opportunities, which is always a fun part of our wrap-ups. So the opportunity that we're seeing is around direct property markets. So direct property markets are really feeling the buzz of that reduced interest rate, as well as people getting back to work. And we've also had this with a really good concoction of continued employment, which is great. A lot of people have gone back to their jobs, reduced interest rates. Those interest rates have been passed on to consumers and to the average person. But also we're seeing a lot of first home buyers coming into the market. And that's because we've had nearly 9 or 10 months of forced savings for these first home buyers. No avo on toast for them. They were forced to sort of sit on their hands and not go out so much. So they've actually generated a really good deposit, and that's coupled with some generous lending solutions by banks and the government, which has now started to see some opportunities in some more regional markets, as well as Perth, Brisbane and Melbourne starting to fire back up again as well. The other opportunity obviously is the COVID-19 vaccine. So that is creating some more opportunities around investments. So if you're thinking about investing or have some extra money, definitely give us a call and we can have a chat about where to place it and what to do with it. So we are seeing markets moving, and we do have a tactical asset allocation around where we're seeing better growth over the next 3, 6 and 12 months time into the future as well. So that vaccine is providing a lot of investment opportunities, which is great. When it comes to some of the threats that we are seeing within within Australia at the moment, we're seeing, in my opinion, one major threat from in Australia, which is the ending of insolvency laws and the changing of insolvency laws back to what they used to be. And what's essentially happened is they've been kicking the can up the road around insolvency, hoping that people were able to trade their way out of it or do business to a point that they're able to become profitable again and start paying the bills and those sorts of things. So a big threat is the potential for that to all unravel and for us to have quite a lot of bankruptcy, quite a lot of insolvency, and quite a lot of businesses going to administration all at the one time, and potentially the flow-on effect for all the businesses that they owe money to. So that is a bit of a threat that's looming in the wings that we need to watch out for. The other major threat that we're seeing both here in Australia and across the world is the flexing of Chinese muscles, and what it is that they're becoming more and more confident in their use of force, in their use of trading power, and they're not being shy about how they use that. So we're seeing a obviously concerted effort to stymie Australia, but we're also seeing this muscle being flexed around the world, especially in the Southeast Asian region. And so watch this space, because I think there is going to be some sort of heat, maybe even a potential conflict in the next 12 to 18 months. Hopefully this can be diffused. Hopefully that China can rein in a little bit, or we can have a concerted effort to sort of stop the flexing of those muscles and to reduce the power that they're trying to wield within the region, and continue to be a force for good. So that is a major threat for us. From a personal point of view, Lauren and I are obviously working really hard in the background. A lot of our efforts is around keeping up with investment markets, and so we are very much researching and focusing on what it is that's happening around the world and how your portfolios are placed within it, and being ready to maybe move some money from North America to developing nations and to emerging markets, and moving it away from markets that have really had some strong growth. So we have been really busy doing that. And in our spare time, Lauren and I have also made the decision to purchase the vineyard down here in Victoria. So we're going to be living here long term, getting stuck into the grapes. So you're going to definitely see a few more videos of Marley, Lauren and I mucking around in the grapes. And it is getting quite hot here, and sometimes unbearable in the dry heat and the sun. So from our family to yours, we wish you a very Merry Christmas. And if I don't speak to you before then, have a Happy New Year, and hope it's a lovely and safe one. And we can't wait to get a few labels on this wine and send you out a bottle, and that way you can enjoy some of the stuff that we've made. So really looking forward to speaking to you. As always, give me a call if you need anything, and I'll hopefully speak to you very shortly into the new year. Thanks.